No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done. No matter how you move, get it done.
Okay, people, so it seems as though I might be at odds with the My Hero Academia fandom. I might get a little bit of backlash after this video based on my opinion, my thoughts on what's gone down and the recent stuff with the latest chapter, chapter 332. In particular, the battle between Star and Stripe versus All for Shigaraki, or One for whatever you want to call it, basically, that amalgamation that he has become. But ultimately, that battle in particular where it left off with Shigaraki seemingly catching the W after an intense battle. Now, a lot of people, from what I saw at the very least, were upset. They're saying that basically now he's broken. Shigaraki's going to be absolutely broken with stealing that quirk from Star and Stripe, and also that what was the point of hyping up Star and Stripe and all of the amazing feats if she was going to take the L to begin with, and this is just making Shigaraki right now, he's going to be ridiculously overpowered. And there is some validity and some merit to some of those statements, I ain't gonna lie, just to the fact that I said this last week and I'll say it again, that it kind of could go down the route, depending on how Horikoshi plays this whole thing out, of similar to what happened with Naruto, where Masashi Kishimoto said in an interview, I don't really know how to kill off this guy Madara. I've made him too strong. That's a problem right now. And if we continue to go down this rabbit hole of Shigaraki gathering all of these quirks, the regenerative Kid Buu, Majin Buu regeneration type of stuff that he's undergone at this point, and everything that he's just continuing to stack, then yeah, it's going to be a problem to take him out, especially considering we just had the #1 hero of the United States, fresh from the United States, coming through and throwing hands with Shigaraki. And if indeed she takes this L, then it kind of leads us to like, okay, where do we go now? Because like, this is a massive force that just took an L. And if we're going to compare like to Deku, I've said it before, I'll say it again, Deku does not, he right now where he's at with his understanding of the quirks that he has within One for All, he still couldn't match up to Star and Stripe. Like, he's still nowhere near in the ballpark of what we've seen her, you know, just accomplish within the last few chapters. Her feats that she has with this quirk that she has, you know, New Order, it's ridiculously overpowered. And if she couldn't do it, there's no chance in hell Deku right now would be able to do it without it kind of feeling like, huh, how did he do this again? So I understand certain gripes. However, I gotta start off by saying that I am absolutely really loving what's going on right now at My Hero Academia. I know some people are probably going to be upset by hearing that, but I am having so much fun with this battle, seeing Star and Stripe's just overpowered techniques, seeing Shigaraki's overpowered regenerative abilities. This has been epic as hell. They better animate this properly. Honestly, I wish I could get a movie quality animation of this fight, because it has just been, the scaling of it has been the biggest scale fight of this series so far. We haven't seen something this grandiose. So the 1,000 size freaking image of her attacking, like all of the epicness that we've seen so far, we have not really seen in this series thus far. So I'm really loving it. I ain't gonna lie, even up to the latest stuff, because one of the biggest things why I can't condemn just yet everything that has happened, and even then some besides this point, but this is one of the major points, is the fact that it's not over. That was an epic cliffhanger, and we're going to get into all of it. As a matter of fact, you know what? There's a lot that needs to be said. Let's start from the beginning, because, yeah, I got a lot to say of this intense chapter, this epic chapter, this interesting, deep chapter. Let's do it.
Follow me!
Yes, sir!
Okay, so My Hero Academia 332 begins off with a flashback of Cassie back when she was, you know, training with her soldiers and stuff like that. And one of the things that they wanted to give a core element to is, opposed to like, you know, a jarhead type of situation or something just in general where like, you know, it would feel very cold. Like if you watch a lot of old military films and stuff like that, it feels so cold. You don't really feel much of a camaraderie between the people. So when we get this demonstration of like Cassie and her soldiers, they're all like family. They all call themselves quote-unquote bros, and that's something that it was a little bit refreshing, because I've seen again Horikoshi using a lot of tropes from old war films, MASH, all sorts of stuff, and it was nice that, okay, a little bit of a difference. They actually really all like each other. They're not all just miserable as hell, which I ain't gonna lie, I wouldn't blame anybody that's part of any type of armed forces for feeling miserable or some shit. That's a very scary job to even, think about taking up. But Cassie in particular is disappointed in herself because she can't power herself up as much as she would like. Essentially, there's a limit to it, and she's kind of even doubting herself. And this is something that I guess you would say of an insecurity she has, because she wonders to herself, is it because I'm a girl? Is that why I can't reach my ultimate potential in terms of using this quirk to power myself up? And I love that it solidifies and it ties into the end of the chapter, the decision that she made regarding, blowing up the aircraft and whatnot. The fact that her bros really care for her, and they're like, come on, man, stop with that dumb shit. It's not about you being a girl. It's just a quirk, man. You great. You're awesome. You're one of the only people that could actually potentially surpass the big guy, All Might. So I love that camaraderie about her and making her feel like, no, we're equals, man. There's nothing. If I had the quirk, I'd probably have the same problem. It's like, it's already an overpowered quirk. You want it to be extra overpowered? And then even adding in the whole, friendship stuff. It's shonen. Hey, I guess it's a little bit of a difference of like, it's shonen using soldiers from like an army and stuff like that. But them saying, hey, if it's not enough when you use the boost for yourself, then allow us to come in and pick up the slack of whatever you need. Like, that's what we're here for. Again, we're bros. I just really appreciate that, to be honest with you. I don't know why. Like, I've seen it a million times in My Hero Academia with Class 1A, but you expect that with 1A. When you're seeing army soldiers and stuff like that, I ain't expecting that. I'm expecting them to say, Cadet, go jump in the mud.
Don't you understand?
Yes, but you don't need to yell, because look, I'm standing right here.
Maybe I've seen too many of those shitty old 90s war movies. And it also solidified the bond that she had with these people. The fact that it ties into the dialogue she had at the beginning of the chapter of feeling like maybe it's because Cassie's a girl. And she's like, well, thankfully, they've never told me that. Nobody's ever told me, oh, it's because you're a girl that you can't achieve this ultimate power. So that really solidified why she would, despite the fact that the mission would be probably a success, if she would have at the end of the chapter did what she needed to do, ultimately she couldn't, because she loves these people. She cares about these people. They actually have a legitimate bond. And it kind of even reminds me of something that's been going on in Black Clover lately. If you read the manga, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but a similar situation of, do I sacrifice people in order to make this outcome against a certain antagonist go my way or not? So I don't know if they're thinking alike, Yuki Tabata and Kohei Horikoshi, but it's definitely a similar theme that was just recently done in Black Clover, and I like the way it was done in this one. And I also like the way it was done in Black Clover, but yeah, it was just a little bit of a different twist, I guess you could say, with adding all this army element stuff that I didn't expect to come in at the 4th hour in My Hero Academia. Or is it the 9th hour? You know what I mean. But we come back to the present day. The missiles are on their way, and Cassie is essentially going to undo one of her rules in order to be able to touch the missiles, so that essentially she could redirect them and direct them exactly towards Shigaraki Tomoda. And it was just a genius play, the way it was done, the way it was set up, the strategy behind it. Like, you got to give Cassie her credit. I ain't even gonna lie, like, I've said it before, I gotta keep on saying it, I have become, in this very short amount of time, a massive Cassie fanboy. And it's not just on some ecchi stuff, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's legitimately, like, yeah, she's a female, okay, it's, I like to joke around and stuff like that, but it's legitimately that this is a dope thing that Horikoshi is doing. Now, granted, you could argue that, well, Coinka Dinkily, the movie in theaters over there in Japan, the biggest audience was females, and then boom, the #1 hero of the United States is a female. Even so what? Because as long as he's doing a good job with it, as long as it doesn't feel contrived or nonsensical or anything like that, of like, hey, it's just ridiculous. Like, no, this is very well done. Cassie is an amazing character. I love the relationship with her soldiers, her bros. Cassie's just freaking awesome. Like, I love what Horikoshi has done. This is so a break away from everything with My Hero Academia. Cassie is the best female hero in this entire series, and one of the best heroes in general. Like, I'm still a little biased to a couple of different heroes, but nevertheless, she is up there. Top 5 easily for me of my favorites. And for you to do that this late in the series, 330 plus chapters, make a character that I actually rock with like that, to that degree, you've done something right. But she's gonna undo one of her rules in order to be able to touch the missiles. And I love how Shigaraki's like, oh, she must know I'm broken. Because essentially, yeah, that's probably why everything is being done, because Shigaraki kind of deduces like, oh, this attack, this laser stuff was just kind of to pin me down. They know that this little laser beam that, it's cute, you know, it's, the average person, I'm sure it would have decimated them and destroyed them, obliterated them, but he recognizes that they recognize they can't take him out with just that. So that's where you kind of start adding in the foreshadowing of what's to come later on down the road. Just like they're strategizing, this guy, Shigaraki, along with All For One, again, let's not mistake that this is just Shigaraki, because I don't think just Shigaraki, without this combination of what he's become, this amalgamation of him and All For One, I don't think Shigaraki would have been this strategic, this able, and this capable of fighting at this caliber of mentally, not only physically, but also mentally. I think a lot of this has to do with both of them becoming one. This is like generations of experience from All For One's side, and then the reckless, chaotic, destructive nature of Shigaraki combining to create a caliber of fighter like this. If it was just Shigaraki, hell, if it was maybe even only All For One, each of them by themselves probably would have got destroyed, because All For One probably isn't as daring or as destructive as Shigaraki is on his own, and Shigaraki isn't as calculative and as, you know, cunning as All For One. You put them together though, this is what you got. You got on some, he kind of feels like a smart Kid Buu-esque type of character. And he says basically, yeah, that without one giant, decisive, incredibly strong attack enough to take him completely out, he'll just keep on coming back, and that he knows that that's what they're basically thinking in their mind. You need one big attack strong enough to obliterate me completely. And again, as I just mentioned, Kid Buu kind of reminds me of that. Kind of reminds me of how Goku and them, they couldn't defeat Kid Buu. He kept on regenerating, and they knew that they needed one strong enough attack, a la Spirit Bomb-esque type of deal, in order to defeat Kid Buu. Kind of the same scenario here with Shigaraki, or All For Shigaraki, you know what I mean. And then the way it kind of got even a little more maniacal feeling when they both are basically comparing what they're going through right now, the soldiers and Shigaraki, to a game. Like, they're breaking it down like, oh, so essentially it's just a game, because they're kind of having to put together the strategy of the missiles are incoming following this laser, and this is all like one big game. And Shigaraki's like, yeah, it's like one dangerous game of hot potato. And I ain't gonna lie, bro, you about to get boiled, cooked up, fried up. You gonna be French fries, okay? It ain't just hot potato, it's hot French fry. That's what you about to turn into. And then we get the countdown, and Horikoshi was like, all right, we're gonna put the dialogue down for a little bit. We're gonna just get a little bit lax on the dialogue for this particular portion. And then it goes straight into just beautiful art yet again of her quirk, that massive, I don't even know what the heck that is. It's just a massive air and energy holding that freaking laser, and she counts down 3, 2, 1, make some noise, everybody hands up. Okay, wrong series. And she uses a new rule to redirect the missiles and calls this entire gigantic, epic looking attack state-of-the-art hypersonic intercontinental cruise punch. And boy, did that art look epic and awesome. How can you be sleeping on Cassie? How can you hate on her? Like, I've seen something, and legitimately, I know some people are gonna say it has nothing to do with that. No, I have 100% seen factually with my own 2 eyes some people saying that they straight up just don't like it that the #1 hero of the United States is a female. Like, bottom line, they're like, oh, it's a girl, I'll pass on that, I don't like it anymore. And to that I say, come on, now you being ridiculous, fam. You're gonna just straight up on the character because she's a female in a certain position. Like, I ain't on no, oh, I'm a feminist type of deal by any means, but I will say that Horikoshi has done an incredible job, and if you do a great job of a character in this amount of time, no, I'm not going to write you out because of your gender. Like, that would be ridiculous. So yes, I am going to continue fanboying over Cassie, including that epic punch of awesome sauce that she just delivered to Shigaraki. And again, if it was anybody else, overhaul, whoever muscular, they would have been mince meat from any of these attacks, for that matter, that Cassie threw at him. Honestly, I wish we would have seen Cassie sooner, and just showing how awesome she is. It kind of almost feels a little bit cheap to this epic character that Horikoshi just introduced, of like, you just introduce her to the story, oh, this is #1 hero, and if she does take a L in the end all be all of this entire battle against Shigaraki, it's going to feel like, wow, so you introduced this godlike creature only to her first appearance on screen be an L. So I understand that aspect of why fans feel a certain way as well. And fam, you know it's awesome when and crazy when Endeavor from far away notices the freaking blast and the chaos, and it's like, oh, that's what a real #1 does. No, let me stop. No, I'm just joking around. I ain't trying to get on Endeavor, to be honest with you. He has really stepped up to the plate, considering like you had to follow the shoes of All Might, the symbol of peace that has kept the world in order, and then everything went to hell towards the end of his run. You had to pick up from there. yeah, Endeavor's had it hard, so I don't want to shit on him by any means. It's just that what Endeavor could do, I don't think it would match up to what this chick could do. Like, if they went one-on-one, I guess I'm going to throw that in there. This is as toxic as it may be and what it's going to bring. Who would win? Let's just throw that in there, some power scaling in the conversation already. Endeavor or Cassie, aka Star and Stripe. I ain't gonna lie, I think Star and Stripe would mop the floor with Endeavor. I'm just keeping it real. Like, I think Endeavor would put up a little bit of a fight, but for the most part, Cassie with her rules, it's a broken Quirk, fam. Like, Endeavor's gonna be there screaming, "Oh, Shoto, help me!" And I know some people are gonna take that personal. Good. I love Cassie. I gotta rep for my gal. You know what I'm saying? And following the massive attack that we just had of missiles, lies a crater that Shigaraki pops out, and oh my god, Horikoshi. Like, it's been said before, and I love this comment. I don't know where I read it back in the day, but or not even back in the day, maybe a year ago, something like that. Somebody had said that Horikoshi should have been a horror artist. Like, some of his art, especially when it comes to like Shigaraki and the villains, it looks like straight up horror manga. So when I see him coming out of the crater and he's all completely decimated, he just looks like a bag of skin. It's just really freaking creepy. I'm like, his next series after My Hero Academia, please be like Junji Ito. You know what I'm saying? Like, do some horror manga, because those designs are not missing. Like, that looks so freaking epic and sick, and I'm like, god, part of me, I was like, I don't want to see him anymore. Like, stop already. It looks gross. And Shigaraki basically explains that it took precise time, basically precision, however the hell you say it. He essentially used the right timing, that when everything was targeting him, he used his decay quirk to decay into the earth without being seen. I believe they also said that he had like a normal as a decoy, and ultimately he burrowed himself, think of like, you know, I don't know, a groundhog or something like that, as everything went, and that was able to allow him to not get completely decimated by the blast. Like, it still affected him clearly if you look at him, but ultimately he was able to evade the majority of it that would have wiped him out completely by using strategy that, again, Shigaraki on his own, I don't think would have been able to come up with all of that. I think a lot of that has to do with the reflection of All For One mainly being in charge of this body. And we get a little more of a reaction to the soldiers, and I love how Horikoshi has made it that I kind of sort of now care about the wordings from the soldiers. Like, the first few chapters I was like, just shut up, man, y'all fodder. But as I've seen the bond with Star and Stripe and them, I'm kind of like, okay, you know, I don't mind them necessarily being there, and they're like, yo, we gotta support Star, we gotta get her grounded and whatnot, because she's just basically free falling at this point. And after all of that, you know, massive power that she had to put out in order to do that, you know, redirection and the missiles, and she even said that it could have ripped her arms off and stuff like that. We need to have her back. And here's where the big tough decision came in, that was kind of tied into what we learned about between her and her bros in the beginning of the chapter, because she deduces that Shigaraki, as he's running on top of the aircraft, if she was to blow up the aircraft, it would probably be enough to decimate all of them, and it would finish off Shigaraki. But that would be at the cost of her bros, and that relationship and that bond that she has with these soldiers is very strong, and that's why she couldn't do what needed to be done. And again, it reminds me of something I just seen in Black Clover. Again, I'm not going to spoil, but it was a similar decision of, do I sacrifice somebody that I care about in order to take out this threat that goes against the world, that could take the world out? And unfortunately, well, I don't want to say unfortunately, I guess for the soldiers, fortunately, but in general, like, it's just because she's not the main character. Just keeping it real. If she was the main character, this would have been over with. Like, I just got to keep it real. Right now, she got a little bit robbed in this whole exchange, just because she threw everything that you would need to throw against a freaking ridiculously broken regenerative ability that a character has. And at the end of the chapter, it ends off with Shigaraki cuffing his hand around our girl Cassie. Get your hands off of her, Tomura. And I'll be honest with you, I still don't want to count out that the battle is over just yet. I feel like Horikoshi might be trolling us. She might have set a rule before any of this happened, and essentially maybe the decay won't happen, or the stealing of her quirk won't happen. I hope whatever happens in this battle, I just hope that he doesn't steal her quirk, because if he manages to steal that quirk, then it's really going to be ridiculously impossible to beat this dude. So please, even if she takes the L, as much as I like this character, don't give Tomura any more weapons, because at that point, come on, fam. Like, now we going into overdrive. Honestly, just looking back at that war, they struggled to beat Tomura then. Tomura. And now you got All For One in the wings, and you got all of this planning, and oh, no. But I want to throw in there that I am really loving and enjoying this battle, and the outcome isn't completely set in stone just yet, because we don't know if she set a rule besides, okay, maybe I'm not going to blow up the freaking aircraft because my people's is on it, but maybe she set a different rule and it just wasn't showcased yet. Or even if the battle is over, it doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be capable of stealing that quirk. Maybe there's something else in store. So I want to keep a little bit of faith alive, because I ain't gonna lie, this fight is really, really good. Like, this is a dope fight. I get it, the optics of it, I get it that it makes it look like this dude is going to be way ridiculously broken, but in terms of throwing the #1 of the US against the #1 threat of Japan, this is freaking epic, and this battle has been crazy. Imagine if this gets the proper treatment for an adaptation. This is going to be godlike. So yes, I have to go against a good, loud portion of the fandom and say, I like this chapter, I like this battle. I just hope that the outcome isn't what is being teased, but it's not even set in stone yet. Curious what you guys think. Love or hate the chapter, love or hate the outcome, love or hate Star and Stripe versus All for Shigaraki. And your overall thoughts and expectations for where this is all going to go with 333 and beyond. I don't know, man, but I hope it's not over yet. I want to see more of this epicness. I really like Cassie. I've said that a million times, but it is what it is, fam. I gotta speak my truth on here. That's all I have for this one, though. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you liked anything I had to say or enjoyed the video, drop me a like. I'd greatly appreciate it. And if you want more from me, make sure to subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram. Hit that bell to get all notifications. And if you want to follow any of my other social media, links are in the description below. I'm ForneverWorld, and as always, people, have an awesome day. And remember the golden rule: anime and manga for life. Bye. Have an awesome day. Peace in, and Star and Stripe, don't be over just yet. Come on. And Shigaraki, you better not get that other quirk, fam. Like, if you get new order, it's over. That's the order. Have an awesome one.